Good to have you along here. 3 and Out. I'm Kevin Thomas. He's Ben Troop. Good Friday to you. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Just having old school philosophical discussions here on the show. Ben.
When we get those cameras up in here to get we don't have to edit a lot of it, but I'm just saying some of this stuff, Kevin. The one thing we do more than anything in sports is compare now to the past. What you think? So and so, you think Ken Griffey Jr. going yard regardless? That thing is out of here. But hey, man, I will say this. I know we're gonna get to the Braves. I'm sorry. I said something yesterday that I shouldn't have said. Mr. Strider, have yourself a day, sir. You are because Kevin, Fried, Minter, Anderson, Strider. The Braves got a gym every year. Mr. Strider, outside the stash, the all-speed stuff, the fastball. I'm calling him. When he comes out, I go
Christian Jr. with the quads, right?
Yeah, I call him. Listen. It's called the Terminator. It's called what it called the Dominator, whatever he called it.
Yeah.
In Major League, that's the 102 miles an hour. I can't remember that. Well, obviously, I can't remember last time I drove that fast, and my insurance can attest to that. But no, Mr. Strider, man, out there doing what he does.
Oh, look, I know you said, hey, you wasted a lot of his start. Last night, we were talking about this video game stuff. 3 up, 3 down, 3 straight innings, all strikeouts, 9 up, 9 Ks. That, you can't do any better than that. And that, I know a lot of people play video games. We'll get that. You can't even do that in a video game. With the setting set on extra easy, it's hard to strike out 9 guys in a row, especially to start the game. And 12 Ks overall. This is the sad part, man. The Braves lose in extra innings. I think they struck out the Cardinals 19 times. 19 strikeouts, and you lose in extra innings. But, Christian, I'll just bring it up. What he was talking about that got us started on this was, he's like, do you think Babe Ruth could hit Spencer Strider? And I was like, well, I will say the same thing I said off the air. I hate the philosophical arguments like that. Because to take into account, you would say, hey, well, that means you look at Babe Ruth for what he was. Like, everybody plays in the era in which they're in, i.e., when Babe Ruth was playing, unless you made Babe Ruth money, you went and had another job, right? I play baseball in the summer. I go work in wherever I work in the off season. That's why spring training was invented. Honestly, this is the honest to God truth. Spring training was invented for baseball. Why? Because dudes would play baseball. Then the season would end, and they would go back to their regular job, building houses, making furniture, whatever it was.
AKA working in the factories.
Right? And so then you come back, you're like, oh, man, I've been sitting here, eating bread and all this all day, getting a desk job, and now I've got to get back in shape to play baseball again, and that was kind of part of it. Now guys are training year-round. I think if you want to bring Babe Ruth in that discussion, he would obviously train year-round. Like, even the guys who look at it now, like you would say, who's kind of rotund like Babe Ruth, maybe like a Vlad Jr. or a Prince Fielder from a few years ago.
And that's a great point. Look at what Vlad Jr. doing. Look at what Prince Fielder did.
And they're strong. And
it's not like you make a good point when you say Babe Ruth did what he did, and he's not the most
but nobody
put together guy you ever seen.
Right?
Could you imagine Babe Ruth eating right? Because that's the thing.
With a nutritionist. And
now, him and that nutritionist, they're going to have it out.
Yeah.
Nutritionist like, listen, when he closed his door, just give him 5 minutes. Why? I know he got something in there.
But he was still a professional hitter for his time.
Absolutely.
So could he hit Spencer Strider? Maybe. Would he hit it at a 300 clip? I don't think so. I'm willingly because nobody threw like that.
Yeah.
Nobody threw like that back in the day. Also swung a heavier bat than guys swing now, but that's neither here or there. I think he could hit. Would he be, hitting bombs? I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's hard to say he wouldn't.
But in every era of sports, you can do that and go back and say, well, would Dick Butkus dominate in today's NFL? Okay, they didn't have the same kind of workout. They didn't have the same kind of knowledge, the same kind of schemes that have come into play over years of football.
It was actually harder to play. It was actually It was actually a much harder game because you practice more in pads.
Sure.
Like when they played.
And you could be more physical.
And the thing is, when we use the word dominate.
You can slap guys upside the head.
Exactly. when we use the word dominate, like Dick Butkus, he dominated. Babe Ruth dominated. So to say you think if I gotta put my money on anybody that can hit it, I think the Babe, Tony Quinn and Babe, of course, I think they're gonna make contact with the Babe Ruth was the first. I mean, first of his kind. Said, look, man, what? I'm trying to go yard. I ain't with that base hit stuff. What do you mean?
Well, no,
I'm not trying to run out of double. I'm trying to get up out. And the thing is, a guy that was that dominant to where they're making movies about him and all this, and we still
you
talk
could
about
transcend eras. I agree.
Yeah.
And I look at, and again, I go back and I heard I'm not trying to steal his take, but it's true. I heard Colin Cowherd say this a whole long time ago. They're like, oh, you go back and Honus Wagner was this and that. Oh, he wouldn't dominate and this. Okay, Honus Wagner played like the early 1900s, right? Honus Wagner, I think if you go back and look, was like 6'1", 6'2", which compared to today's athletes doesn't seem like that big of a difference. But the average height for a guy in 1900 was like 5'7". So he was huge, bigger, stronger,
much bigger.
That's what I'm saying. And so
the average height now for a guy's what, 5'9"? So
right.
He's still bigger.
So the formula doesn't change, Ben, right? Guys who win in the NFL, when Dick Butkus played, Dick Butkus was bigger, faster, stronger than most people that play. When you played, you and everybody in the league were bigger, faster, stronger than everybody else. That's just because that's what it is.
And you know why that is? Listen, what I lack athletically, I make up genetically. Think about that. Like, if I lack something, okay, what is football one-on-one? Run fast, hit hard. What? We're going to run fast, we're going to hit you hard. Now, the bigger you are, the harder the impact. And once you learn how to hit, because that person over there, they're still 5'10", 190. They're still 6'4", 250. Before you even figure it out, what the 5'10", 190 guy say, I hope to God he don't learn what he's doing. Because I think the thing about sports is that you can appreciate is this. Every time I used to talk about Michael Jordan, my mom used to talk about Dr. J when I was young. Dr. J. And I said, Mama, can two things be right at the same time? Like, I am not disrespecting Dr. J because I'm talking about Mike. Just like I'm not going to let you disrespect Babe Ruth and say, oh, he couldn't. What? Like, hold on. Give me a hitter that was okay.
Well, I'm not saying he Christian goes, well, would he have hit 700 home runs? I don't know. I don't think so. And the only reason I say that is because outside of him and Hank Aaron and Barry Bonds, nobody else has done it. So to say,
you talking about very, that's like saying.
So I do think consistently,
yes,
he wasn't seeing, like every night.
Yes,
Matt Olson, they're all seeing guys that are throwing some of the nastiest breaking stuff, hardest thrown baseballs that you're going to see.
Yeah,
I think in Babe Ruth's time, you were probably also seeing that, but on a much different level, and there probably weren't as much, because people were like, oh, there weren't as many good players. It's true, there were also way less teams. So you had less teams, really condensed with great players. So you spread out the talent a little bit more, and I think you get what you have now. It's like you have great players on more teams, more focus on it. I can go back and forth in the airs all day. Do I think Babe Ruth's hitting 700 home runs if he had to face Spencer Strider every day? No.
Well, no,
but most people aren't either.
It's like this. Okay, so that's why Spencer Strider, he's a starter. He can't go every day. But this is the thing. Like with anything else, everybody catches up. Like, meaning baseball player's job is, I got a freaking test every time I'm at that plate. Why? Because that pitcher is gonna pitch to me according to the type of hitter I am.
Yeah. So
the better I am, the more aggressive he has to be. Dude, I can't give this dude nothing. Now, Strider's like, all right, if he makes contact, like if somebody's Strider, which I can appreciate it. That's when you know you're really, really good. You listen, man, 9 up, 9 down, 3 straight. And that's something that you don't see all the time. But come on, man. That's like when Andrew Jones says Michael Harris Jr. is good, he's good. I don't need to see nothing else. Because Andrew Jones go, oh, he gonna get to that. Oh, he got there. Because he knows the degree of difficulty in what he's doing. Give me a hitter that was okay-ish. Don't give me Babe Ruth, because I'm like, I'm sorry. Obviously, we'll never know. But if I had to bet my money, the Babe gonna say, look, bro, I'm gonna figure you out. Why? Because everybody has tendencies. And if you give me that cheese over the plate,
I'm coming
with that thing.
It's a debate that will never end, and I get it. But yeah, I think you look at what he's doing, man, and look.
Ridiculous.
I would love to stand in there one time. I'll be like the kid in Rookie of the Year, where my heel will be on the back, or not? Was it Rookie of the Year?
It was Rookie of the Year. Yes.
Where he has the arm that.
Yes.
Okay, and he has to hit the one time. He puts one foot in the very back and the other foot right there. He's as far back and as far away from. I would do that and say, "Come on, Spencer, bring me the heat." And then he would throw it, and I'd go, "Whenever you're ready." and it already went by. You're like, okay.
Oh,
You know,
listen. The thing about Strider, this is what you can appreciate. It's not taken away from what Ohtani does or what what Scherzer does or DeGrom does, but it's the manner in which he does it. Like, dude, ain't nobody listen. There aren't a bunch of people in the world that can throw 90, let alone 102.
yeah.
My off-speed stuff is 97.
That's insane.
And the thing about it is once again, I give credit to the freaking farm system or the way to which, because people go, hey man, well, the Braves do this as well. The Braves are really, really good at distracting you with such great players. You're so worried about Acuna, there go Michael Harris. So worried about, you're so worried about Max Fried, there goes Strider. And it's like, where did this dude come from? Don't care, just happy he's with the Braves because that stuff is nasty and it's frequent.
I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't get about him is that we've seen guys throw hard.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen guys that have come up and throw hard. To throw hard like that and dot it on the corner, I mean, that's just freakish stuff. Like that, like again, I've said this to a bunch of times, and I've said this to young kids playing baseball because everybody wants to throw hard. I was like, I watched YouTube's good for everything. Hardest thrown balls in 2021. Somebody made a video. It's like, hey, here's the 25 fastest pitches in Major League Baseball from the last year. I literally watched 12 pitches before one of them was a strike. It's like, so you're throwing hard, but can you control it?
Yeah.
Then you get Spencer Strider, you dot 102 on the corner.
Yes.
Bam! Like, what are you going to do with that?
Yes.
There's nothing you can do with that. And to see a guy go 9 up, 9 down, go sit down. Like, if I'm in the Cardinals dugout, I'm just like, dude, what do you I mean, when somebody else going to get out there because we're not hitting this?
I like how it'll be a strikeout. They'll put it on the freaking manager for the Cardinals. Like, and what am I supposed to say? Like yeah. That stuff is nasty. If it's nasty, it's nasty across the board. But shout out to Spencer Strider, man, making an incredible name for himself.
Yeah, the manager come back to the dugout. Mayor's like, "What are you doing, man? I don't know. What you tell me."
Okay, you barely saw it, and I'm standing right there. Yeah. So what you want me to do?
It's crazy.
It's nice, man. Yeah, control is a beautiful thing.
And again, we had all-star voting coming up. Ended today. They're going to announce the teams later. I know a lot of people are saying the way he's pitched, maybe Spencer Strider should be there. I don't know if he's been in the big leagues long enough. Michael Harris, a lot of people are saying he's been terrific. I don't know if he's been in the big leagues long enough to be an all-star, but who the heck knows? We'll see. But several Braves going to have their names called when they announce those teams. We'll get to that coming up a little bit later on the show. But, Ben, it's always a good time to talk college football. We'll do that when we come back. SEC Media Day is coming up in a week from Monday. I'm sure Greg Sankey's going to have a lot of requests to talk to a lot of people about what's going on with the SEC, and we'll get that next. It's 3 and Out on this Friday. Love to hear from you. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We are streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. Good to have you back here on this Friday. SEC Media Days coming up in 1 week from Monday, Ben. So it's right around the corner. Of course, Greg Sankey's going to have his plate full. A lot of folks going to want to talk to the head of the SEC, and I'm sure he'll get more than a few questions about, are you sure you're going to stop at 16? After any chance Oklahoma and Texas join sooner. All the usual stuff. But, Ben, when it comes to talking about on the field, and I know people will say, well, Kevin, this is a ridiculous thing to say, is the star power at the quarterback spot again for the SEC? I know you can say, well, they've always had a few good quarterbacks. I will agree. But it seems like this year you've got good quarterbacks around the league.
Yes.
Where, you've got obviously the stories at Alabama. You've got Anthony Richardson, who I think is going to thrive in a Billy Napier offense. You've got Max. I'm going to get confused. Max, which one of the quarterbacks went to Texas A&M? Was it Max Johnson?
I think, Max Johnson, yes.
And then you have Calzada going to Auburn. You've got, Spencer Rattler coming in at South Carolina. Hendon Hooker quietly is going to be a very good quarterback. Will Levis. I mean, you forget about Will Levis.
Yeah.
And Will Levis quietly, people are saying this guy could be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks on the board. And that's not to mention, obviously all the other quarterbacks. I mean, again, last year we weren't talking about Stetson Bennett going into SEC Media Days. We were talking about, hey, is this Georgia defense going to be good enough to get it done? And JT Daniels. We're not even talking about, it's like, can JT Daniels take a step forward and, lead the team consistently throughout the year, coming off the COVID year where he had some good games and some meh games. Okay. Now I think you look around, you've got an unlikely quarterback hero in Stetson Bennett. And you, to me, Ben, have really good quarterbacks across the league right now that are going to have something to say about this when it's all said and done.
Kevin, it makes it easier, right? It makes it easy for the coaches. It makes it easy for the teams because, listen, as a guy that would love to have all tight ends coming through there. Hey, nothing but tight ends, right? Think about any team at any level.
Maybe we can request that for a future media day. Just send your tight ends.
Just think about any team at any level. If I have Stetson Bennett, University of Georgia, Hendon Hooker, University of Tennessee, Anthony Richardson, University of Florida, Will Levis, University of Kentucky, Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young, University of Alabama. And the list goes on and on. It shows that why the SEC has the star power it has. Think about this. I go from next up, Nick Saban, head coach, Alabama, Bryce Young, quarterback, Will Anderson. Okay, let's keep it going. When you start talking about Team Tennessee, Coach Heupel, Hendon Hooker, the quarterbacks they the headliners, and that'll never change. Look at the way the NFL markets teams. I hate to say it. It used to be, Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons take on Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Now it's going to be.
But I feel like the level of quarterback play has come way up.
And Kevin, because we're not too many years removed from quarterback play being the least. Everything else was good. Running game was good.
Defense
was good. Coaches were good. Programs were good. Quarterback play was It was all right. I think, even though they don't say it, they say, look, man, we got an identity problem. What you mean? While I think it's good that our best players are running back, that doesn't sell tickets like the quarterbacks do. Quarterbacks sell tickets. I'm just saying, it just happens. And the 2 headliners this year, obviously, Bryce Young, Stetson Bennett, right? We're a couple of years removed from Alabama winning the national championship and Georgia winning the SEC. Now it's flipped. Georgia wins the national championship. Alabama wins the SEC. But I think when you start talking about these teams, Kevin, every team that is good in football has one thing in common: a good quarterback. Every last one of them. I don't care what level it's on. Weren't we at ACC Media Days when they had the old lineman from Clemson? He had on a Trevor Lawrence wig because he knows that's what everybody was there to see, even though Trevor Lawrence. So I think that what happens is now, Kevin, is saying, hey, the SEC will want nothing more to do this. Give me a quarterback and give me maybe an old lineman. So give me a guy that's a headliner and a guy that never gets asked questions. Right? That's what that. So if you are the SEC Media Days, it's going to be star-studded. It really, really is, and rightfully so. When you think about these coaches, teams, because everybody wants one, right? Billy Napier goes, hell yeah, I go to Florida, man. They got number one. Yeah, Like, I'm gonna take the money, but I got Anthony Richardson, right? If you now, this is the thing. It used to be a time where you say, okay, who you gonna bring? Do you bring your quarterbacks now? I think you do. It used to be a time where we say who's gonna be, who they're gonna bring, who's gonna be on the list, what may have you. If Georgia busts up in there, okay, they get Nolan Smith. I ain't saying they can't, right? Carter and company. People gonna be saying, but every question gonna be, so Coach, man, how you feel about Stetson? How you feel about Stetson? How you feel about Stetson? Why? Because this time last year was all JT Daniels. Instead, Coach Hopper gonna say, I ain't gonna be asking questions about Hendon Hooker. There he is, right there. You can ask him right there because when they finally put him in that system, they was able to thrive. If you are Kentucky, you bring your QB, you bring your running back because we got to run a game with a passing game. They're going to run game. They're going to pass game. Talk to them. I think that everybody, because if you are a Coach Stoops, you thinking, look, man, we pretty good over here in Kentucky too. We do our thing over here too. But the headliner, I think, plays for USC. It's going to be Spencer Rattler. He's going to be the headliner because you coming from Oklahoma, and you were supposed to be that dude. You were supposed to be getting drafted from Norman. Now you're gonna be getting drafted from Columbia, which is cool. But people say, I mean, what is Beamer Ball? We gonna really get to see it now because we didn't really get to see it. Some a little bit like last year. I mean, I got a freaking guy that was a coach. He said, "Look, man, no. Hey, man, coach, I got a locker today. Yeah, because we need you to play quarterback today. Like, wait a minute. I know you were a quarterback's coach yesterday. Yeah. Today you were a quarterback.
You grad assistant, I think.
Yeah, you grad assistant. Now you like this. Like, coach, man, hey, coach, what you doing here? Oh, I'm starting on Saturday.
Yeah.
What?
You want me to run drills at practice?
No,
you're playing.
And the thing is, right now, right, wrong, indifferent. Last year, JT Daniels goes, and I've heard some things. I'm not here to criticize this young man, but I heard that he left. Like, he didn't like some of the questions. That's called playing big time football. If you're a Spencer Rattler, you're gonna learn a lot about him. Right or wrong, there because we shape narratives, create narratives, make up narratives. Can he answer the questions about Oklahoma? So he said, man, I'm at South Carolina now. Yeah, we know that. But you haven't played at South Carolina yet. You've been through the spring. Talk about what happened to Oklahoma. How can that? Because I think that's a part of it, right? Everybody wants that big spot. Can you handle the pressures of being in those positions? But Kevin, teams, head coaches, quarterbacks, that's what sells tickets. That's what sells merch. That's what get the TV rights and deals and what may have you. And you are right. Top to bottom, they are loaded. I mean, they are loaded. And that's before you even get to the coaches' quarrels and all that kind of stuff. But Mr. Greg Sankey, sir, you are up. We need to know, how good were you at hide and seek when you were younger? Because they still ain't found you. As far as like the perception of the league, about as big as it can be. The growth of the league, I mean, through the roof. Are we gonna be at 16? I'm gonna ask you the same thing Kevin be asking Mr. Hancock. You wanted college football playoff extension. You wanted more teams, but expansion. Is it gonna be 16? Well, Ben, no, I don't know. I want to know. So, but it is gonna be incredible. I just think that the coaches aren't supposed to be the headline. It's supposed to be the quarterback. Supposed to be the players. I think you're gonna get all that and more this year.
I don't have a problem with it. I know people want to see Nick Saban. I know people want to talk to Kirby Smart. I know people want to talk to Jimbo about all that stuff. But to me, you look at the guys that are going to be in some of these quarterback rooms, across the SEC this year. The quarterback play is going to be really, really good. In the SEC, and I think that's the first time where you could say that about a large swath of the league, right? I mean, I think you look at years past, you would say, okay, you've got a couple guys who are really good. I think you've got really good quarterbacks at a majority of the schools in the SEC. And what Chase Daniels at Ole Miss? We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Going from Central Florida to Ole Miss. So you got another guy who put up big numbers. Now he's going to go play for Lane Kiffin. What does that mean? So I think you have really compelling quarterback stories, really compelling quarterback play there in the SEC. We'll come back. College football, as we said, look, it is on the cusp. We're starting to get down to it. Media Day is coming up in about a week for a number of conferences. And once those are over, it's on. You get back and you start practicing, and the countdown's on to the start of the season. We'll look at, given all the expansion talk, what does one conference need to do here in 2022 that might help them out or hurt them moving forward? We'll get to that next here on 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Love to hear from you. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We're also streaming live on ESPNCoastal.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can leave us a comment there on Facebook, YouTube, and we'll get it on the show and talk about it here on 3 and Out. Good to have you back here on this Friday, Kevin and Ben. Glad you are with us. College football rapidly approaching, Ben, and so much obviously talk about conference expansion and are we going to go to 20 or 24 team leagues, a big 2, all that stuff that's going on. And we talked yesterday about, hey, is Notre Dame maybe holding this thing up because they want to stay independent, which, a lot of people think might be a good thing if we can keep these conferences together. But given all the talk, Ben, does the ACC, do they need a good season on the field? And I don't mean, hey, I need 7 teams going 11-1. That's how. But do they need a good showing on the field? I'm not even just going to say Clemson and another team to consistently play well, be in the national discussion, have a good season on the field to remain attractive. And I don't mean, hey, we're going out trying to poach other teams if you're Jim Phillips. I mean, we remain attractive to our own current members if you're Jim Phillips, i.e. keeping the people in the fold, keep North Carolina from wandering eyes over to the SEC, because there's going to be dollars that are going to be thrown out in front of people's faces that'll make it very attractive. Do you need to have a good season to make yourself attractive, not only to your members you have, but maybe Notre Dame, another team out there that could come in and help your conference remain attractive to kind of keep this thing together?
Without a doubt. Because, Kevin, this is the thing, right? It's about the thing about college athletics, college football specifically, all you have is perception. You say something long enough to where people around you start saying it, people that don't know who you are saying, how do we know about certain brands, right? Either we've been using that brand, eating that brand, or just knowing that brand for years. So when it comes to the ACC, nobody's waving the flag for them right now. The team that was supposed to win last year didn't win. It was Pitt. It wasn't Clemson.
But if Pitt can do it again,
yes,
then you start building a little bit.
But I will say this. You know who's going to have to play well this year? I'm sorry. Miami's going to have to play well. Florida State is going to have to play well. North Carolina's going to have to play well. Because if you get the biggest brands in your conference playing, that's the one thing the SEC don't have to worry about. We got enough big brands to play well to where, okay, this is going to be fine. So Arkansas can have a better year, but Ole Miss played well, right? Texas A&M played well, right? Tennessee played better than Florida, but they played well enough to where, okay, boom. Because why? What did Florida do last year? They played Alabama well. So that'll be, okay, they could. When it comes to the ACC is you're saying, all right, we know you got Clemson. Wake and Pitt played, obviously, for the ACC championship. What about Virginia Tech? What about UNC? What about Miami? What about Florida State? Because, Kevin, it's never going to be about Boston College. It's never going to be about, certain school. Never going to be about Duke. If your, quote, best team, like the teams that are known nationally, if those teams play well, you're like, okay. Because, like you said, Kevin, what's coming is that money. That money is going to attract a lot of those teams. Now, Clemson might get the last call because they know they're going to be the hardest one to say. But if the ACC can play well this year, because this is the thing that the ACC needs to know, dude, we might want to be attractive for other teams to want to come to us. If we want to keep this thing together, now who they going to get is going to be. I
mean, West Virginia's out there. You've got some other things like that.
I think could you pull some of those remaining Big 12 teams? Maybe. Could you get an Oklahoma State or somebody like that? Maybe. But I do think the ACC is going to have to decide what you want to be, because this is our line. This is our line in the sand. So I just think that, yes, they're going to have to play well. Yes, it's going to. And when I say they, Kevin, now I will say this. You know who could be the key to the ACC this year? It might be Georgia Tech. Coach Collins can pull 12 rabbits out of a hat and get the 6 wins with that schedule.
Oh, I was going to say 12. I thought you were saying wins for a minute. I was like, whoa, no, it's Friday, but come on.
If Georgia Tech can go 3 wins, 6 wins, get bowl eligible with that schedule, now that would help tremendously, because people say, well, why does that matter? Because it doesn't matter what you did to get to the bowl game. I don't care about, they went 12-2. Don't care. They're in a bowl game. They went 12-2. Other team went 6-6. Well, 6-6 with that schedule is 12-2 or whatever it is. So if Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Florida State, Miami can play well, because I think Clemson's going to play well this year. DJU, he knows what's going on. I think the ACC got a really, really good shot, because what it's about is making sure that the best teams, quote, either perception-wise or reality-wise, it can't be NC State. Sorry, they're probably going to be good, but you need North Carolina to be good, not NC State. I need Miami and Florida State to be good, Georgia Tech, and obviously, Virginia Tech, and we'll see what happens. But yes, Kevin, if there was ever a year, they're going to have to get it done this year, Because hey man, what? I saw Greg Sankey in North Carolina today. Doing what? He was at UNC. What? They say he got a grandson or somebody want to go to UNC. That's bull crap. Yeah, well, I'm just saying he was on campus. I'm just saying, Kevin, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. I think the ACC needs a big year from that standpoint to make themselves attractive as a conference, not only for other people, but for the members that wish to stay and try to remain viable there as well, because everybody's talking about getting poached and who's coming for you at the end of the day. Let's go to the phones. Looks like we have our good friend AC Ben calling us back here on a Friday. AC, what's up?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking my call. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Perfect. Everybody's so hyped up about college football super conference. I'm looking at SEC and Big Ten. Here's a problem. You have all the teams joining and Big Ten. That means Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, they might lose their business, and that's bad for college football teams. I'll give you an example. Let's say Miami. They go to SEC. What are the odds they're going to play for the championship game? Because you have too many teams. Let's say Florida State goes to Big Ten. What are the odds they're going to play for Big Ten championship game? I think it's going to be a huge disadvantage. So if I'm Big 12, you want to be relevant, I'm calling Notre Dame. Hey, come on, come and join us. Give you your NBC contract. Come join us, make us relevant. And if I'm ACC, hang up by saying this. If I'm ACC, I'm doing whatever it takes. Keep Clemson. Clemson is going to give you the money. If Clemson leaves, buy ACC. ACC is going to flush you down in the toilet. Enjoy your weekend, boys.
Hey, appreciate the call, AC. Look, I agree. I agree with you that, look, the SEC and Big Ten expanding, and it is bad for college football.
It is.
If you like the big programs, it's great. If, as Ben and I have said all week, if you're in the Big Ten and you're in the SEC, you feel great. Oh, I love college football. Well, because you're secure and the two conferences are making by far the most money. But you're right. I look at the ACC, and I know everybody says Clemson, and I think, Ben, to me, when you have these debates with people that say, why would the SEC want Virginia and North Carolina? Look, it's big. State University. It's not. Look, none of this is about winning football games.
No.
Like, none of it. Like,
Zero.
And again, people are like, well, what? Why would you want Clemson? Well, exactly. Clemson is in a town called Clemson that is next to nothing.
Nothing.
A lake.
And if you've been there.
So, I'm not saying that Clemson brings no value. I'm saying that relatively, Clemson, up until recently, was Georgia, right? Huge fan base, won a national championship in 1980, and had been kind of okay since, right? They and then finally, Dabo jumped in and took them to another level. But traditionally, and I think if you're a leader of college football, more importantly, Ben, guys like Greg Sankey, if you are a businessman, and this is what most ADs and conference commissioners are now, they're CEOs. They're not in the business of caring about who wins and who loses. I mean, they do, but you understand what I'm saying. I think you look around and go, so I could take the biggest school in the state of North Carolina, recruiting base. We currently don't even have a school in North Carolina, right?
Yep.
North Carolina, as far as the South goes, it's not Florida or Georgia, but they have a lot of athletes there. Recruiting base, you've played games, just played a non-conference game, Georgia and Clemson, in where? Charlotte. So I think you look at North Carolina and people say, well, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't from a football standpoint if you're going, I want big teams that have a lot of winning. It does if you're talking about big team, huge alumni base, huge following, and you get another state. Virginia's the same way. Does Virginia fit culturally in the SEC? No, they don't. They don't. They're wine and cheese, and the SEC's Bud Light. Like I get it.
True indeed.
So they're Bud Light and pigs in a blanket.
They better learn. They better learn to put that beer in a wine glass.
So my point is, but Virginia is a state school. Like now, you could go after Virginia Tech, much more aligned as kind of an SEC type school. But when you hear things like they want to go after Virginia and North Carolina, don't think of it as a football move. That's why the ACC is concerned about those schools. The Big Ten wants those. What does North Carolina go to the Big? They want the flagship. Those schools have. Think about the Big Ten: Michigan, Ohio State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa. They're getting the big states, even Penn State, Maryland, Illinois, Indiana. You're getting the big state flagship schools, and that brings a lot of prestige. It brings a lot of influence. It brings a lot of alumni. It brings a lot of cash along with it. And so when people say, well, why would they want Clemson? Clemson is attractive right now. But what if Clemson was Clemson of Tommy Bowden's year?
Talk about it.
When they were 8-9 wins, they were a good program. Do you still want Clemson in the SEC?
Nope.
And I'm not saying that to downgrade Clemson. Clemson fans, hear me out. I'm simply saying when you look at it short term, Clemson makes a whole lot of sense. When you look at the big picture, if I'm the SEC,
come on,
North Carolina, Virginia Tech would be my first two. And people say, well, what about Miami? Again, on the football field the last 20 years, they don't bring you a whole lot. They bring you tradition. But what else do they have? Small, private school, not an SEC school. They're not. I'm just putting that out there for when people say, oh, you're going to go get Miami. No, they're not.
No, you don't.
They're not. You would be more apt to go get Florida State. Why? Huge state school. A lot of alumni, huge fan base, huge interest in athletic. That's the school that fits, the footprint as I pound on the desk on a Friday, not smaller private school. And again, that's just
and to show you, right? Which obviously my phone be listening to me.
You just get an ad for North Carolina.
This is college football's most valuable program. Texas 1, Texas A&M 2, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, OU, Oklahoma, Georgia, Notre Dame, Florida, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Penn State, Oregon, Florida State, South Carolina, Arkansas, USC, UW, Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Ole Miss, Clemson. Did you hear Miami in there?
You didn't get to Clemson until the very end.
And this is the thing, right? This is the thing, right? The top two are Texas and Texas A&M. Where they gonna be? SEC. All I'm saying is this is a game of Monopoly. Like this,
you're collecting properties, yes.
And we were trying to bankrupt everybody else. That is what you were trying to do. Miami at one point, they got a bunch of 30 for 30s. They had some incredible coaches and players. It has been the only time they've been to Charlotte is to visit. They ain't been up there to play. Right? So you're right, Kevin. Listen, there's a reason why University of Florida, University of Tennessee, University of Arkansas, University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, Auburn University, University of Alabama, University of Georgia, University of Kentucky. So you want to go University of North Carolina? Yeah. University of Virginia. I tell you another one. Just to mess with the Big Ten, Pitt. See, if the SEC look, man, you don't want us to come to y'all, what do you mean? What do we bring Pitt over here with us? Pitt has won an ACC as of recent. Has Penn State won a Big Ten as of recent? No. I'm telling you right now, there's one thing to think I'm a big brand. There's another thing to be a big brand. I just read off the top 30. Didn't hear Miami in it. Florida State was in there. Ole Miss
well ahead of Clemson too.
So I do think, Kevin, AC does make a good point. But sometimes you just want your phone to ring. And look. It's like going to the prom. I want somebody to say yes. I hope who I ask say yes. But what if I ask Notre Dame to the prom? Nope. Sorry, Ben. Got a date already. Dang. Who? SEC. He already came and hollered. But I thought you said you didn't want to go to SEC. Yeah, but I'm going to the prom. They're going to wine and dine me a little better. They told me they're going to come pick me up in a helicopter.
I got somebody to dance with.
You coming in that old F-150 that need water in the transmission. All right, but I'm going to put it in there before I go pick you up. Hey, man, you right, though, Kevin. Though, at the end of the day, you might want to jump on this train because we have a perception problem when it comes to college football, and no bigger perception than Miami. Right now.
I'm just saying when you look at realignment and expansion, I get why people would say Clemson, but I'm telling you, that might not be the SEC's first choice because there's bigger brands with more value and bring more to the table that fit that SEC profile just as well. Going to be interesting. Hey, we got to step aside. We'll come back. It's 3 and Out. Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here on this Friday. Kevin and Ben will take 3 right around the corner, talk some NFL football as we get ready for training camps to open up coming up at the end of the month, Ben. So looking forward to that. I know some optimism in Jacksonville after their draft, some optimism, some in Atlanta. Some in Atlanta. We'll get to that coming up as well. And, of course, the Braves get to the final stretch here before the All-Star break. Nationals over their next 10 games.
Listen, Kevin, we in for a long when it comes to this next round of games when it comes to them Braves. But, hey, I'm looking forward to the Braves that found their stride. They got Mr. Strider as well. But if you're an Atlanta fan, optimism is your way forward. Disappointment might be your destiny. We will see
For the Falcons.
For the Falcons.
Yeah, for the Falcons. We already cleared that
but
up.
for the Jags, hey man, at least they, I know we're gonna get the Trayvon Walker working with old Robert Mathis, but when them live bullets about to be flying here, no pun intended. When it comes to training camps, rapidly approaching, we'll see what happens. But I mean, one of my favorite movies, Drive Miss Daisy. He said, have a good time. He said, good luck, and then he said, good God.
We'll come back. Good God, we got Take 3. It's coming up next. We'll get to that. It is 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back. Hour 2 here on 3 and Out. We'll talk some NFL as we are getting close to training camps getting opened. And then the countdown is on towards, whatever's going to happen with the Atlanta Falcons. We'll talk about that and who's going to be the guy to watch on the offensive side. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit as well. But let's take 3 on this Friday, shall we? All right, Ben, I get asked by a lot of folks. As you know, someone every day asks me about Kevin Durant. Why does everybody want out in Brooklyn? That's take 1. Why does everybody want out? I thought they were building a super team, and now everybody wants to leave.
Because Kevin, a wise man, a great wise man once says, it's all sizzle, no steak. Think about this.
Was that me? I don't know.
It was. It comes down to this. You are the little brother team. What is the little brother team? The Mets, the Nets, the Chargers, the Clippers. I don't want to be the other team because, number one, Jay-Z from Brooklyn. You ever seen him at a game? I've seen him at a Knicks game. Because everybody thinks that Brooklyn is something it's not. Yeah, okay, you got to come to the borough of Brooklyn. I get that part, right? But you're not going to win there. And you're not what people care about. Let's just keep it a buck. The reason why Kevin Durant and James Harden and Kyrie Irving didn't go to the Knicks, because the Knicks matter. Kevin, we be saying that certain teams, if they're good, they make everything good. If the Knicks are good, the NBA is so much better. When the Knicks draft pick comes up, everybody watches. When the Knicks goes through free agency, everybody's watching. And the reason why they can't get anybody because they have been down in the dumps for a long time. The Brooklyn Nets are an afterthought. Everybody thought, here they come. Here they come to what? They used to be in New Jersey. Stop it. They're not going to do anything. Kyrie Irving never, ever wanted to be a Net. He wanted to be able to recruit Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving, he went from, the earth is flat and grew his hair out to he got the TWA. Well, that's Teeny Weeny Afro for those of you who don't know. And then it's just
I was confused here myself.
TWA, Teeny Weeny Afro. He got the microphone Afro. Then James Harden, right? And they had Blake. I'm sorry. Yes, TWA. Yes. Kevin, like, hey, I'm gonna go home and tell the business. You know what TWA is? I do. I'm just saying, and that's
I thought I was an airline.
I'm just saying it should be TWO. You know what I'm saying? The way out. But I'm just saying it's just at the end of it, Brooklyn is never going to be that team that's going to be respected because outside of being in New York, you don't have a history. No one's, let's talk about the great Nets. Yes, I know you had Jason Kidd and, different guys in the past, but that's over with. So I think that, Kevin, they tried to create something that was never there. They tried to create some type of tradition that didn't exist. You haven't even been there that long, and your biggest players want out. Kevin Durant, I would love to play in New York. He was talking about the Knicks. I would love to. Kyrie Irving. He was. I would love to. He's talking. Kyrie Irving from West Orange, New Jersey. He did not grow up a Nets fan. You know how I know? Because the Nets were in New Jersey. And now he's with the Nets. He grew up, the Nets was right there. There they go. No, he wanted to play for the Knicks. I'm just saying, if somebody say, hey, man, you want to play for the Mets or the Yankees? Slap in the face. He want to play for stop it. He want to play for the Knicks or the Nets. Both of them are going to lose. I'd rather play for the Knicks. Why? Because I want to play for a team that matters. So that's why it is, Kevin. You're on the team that you thought had a chance to bring some type of, real fandom up there. Now, only people that care about the Brooklyn Nets are people from Brooklyn, not Jay-Z. He's at the Knicks game, courtside with Beyonce and their daughter. So just stop it.
And he owns the Nets, or a piece of it, right?
No, I think he owns. So yeah, and listen. When he goes to the Knicks game, he goes. He gets a limo, or he gets a driver. When he goes to the Nets game, he takes the train. Because I'm going to see the Nets. So yes, Kevin, you know how it is. No, when the last time somebody said, man, you saw the Nets this week? Nobody. No. Because their three biggest stars as of late want out. James Harden already in Philly. Kevin Durant wants out. Kyrie Irving wants to be a Laker. People don't even remember. You know who else played for them? Blake Griffin. No one cares. Blake Griffin plays for the Nets. No one cares. DeAndre Jordan plays for the Nets. No one cares. Because it's the Nets. I'm just saying, like, it is. Like, we need to stop doing
I like that as a take. It's the Nets.
It's the Nets. No. In the words of Kevin, it's soccer. Let's stop this.
Does that flip if the Nets actually win a championship and the Knicks are sitting over there like,
Oh, yeah, no. If that happens, yes. But Kevin, do you know who have to play for the Nets? For the Nets to win it? Steph Jr., Giannis Jr. It's not happening. Like, the worst thing to happen to your franchise is to have some of the biggest names in the game and they want out. Like, they don't want to be there. I'm signing with the Nets to tell the Nets I want out. I mean, Kyrie Irving was seen yesterday at a LA Sparks game. He's at a WNBA game in LA to get the hell away from New York.
has he been to more WNBA games than he did actual Nets games?
He's coming up with another scheme now to throw people off. I mean, you know, for mental health, which I do take that very serious, but he don't want to be with Brooklyn. What Brooklyn at? I don't know. Because the people, I'm just saying, so, hey, sorry, man. Sorry, Nets fans, man, but y'all be arguing about nothing. Man, I'm a Nets fan. And what is that? What does that mean? You know who root for the Nets? Jets fans. That's who root for the Nets. They do. Jets fans root for the Nets. They also root for the Mets. Jets, Mets, and Nets. No one cares. I'm just saying. It's rough. It is rough. And Kevin, you know it's rough.
He's got to take it for
if
what
you
it is.
are a Mets fan, what a Mets saying? The Braves don't lose. I'm just saying, like, when the Mets win the Subway Series, we can talk. Until then, what's up, Kansas City Royals? Because last time they went to the World Series, right? Has Kansas City even sniffed a World Series since? Nope, but they won it. When they got there.
Did they go back to back? I didn't win back to back. I thought they went back to back years.
So all I'm saying is, don't talk about no Nets. Don't talk about no Jets. Don't talk about none of those guys. Who cares?
They won out. All right. I will never ask a Brooklyn Nets question again. It's off.
They win the playoffs.
It's off question. It's off.
Because
it's off
you know what they got last year's playoffs? They got swept. Bring out the broom. I'm just saying.
But they spend a lot of money.
Oh, they spent a bunch of cheese.
So, all right, moving along. Take two. Heard all kinds of stuff when it comes to college football expansion. Ben, give me your craziest college football expansion possibility. And I say that because, again, we had a report from a guy that covers college swimming. It's like, oh, these teams are going to the SEC and this and that. And everyone's like, come on. But give me one that is fake, that is so fake, but it is possible enough that it could be true.
All right.
I would love to hear this.
The ACC wants to stay afloat.
This is fake, by the way. I want to say it again. So Ben is not reporting this up.
This is my fake take. The ACC wants to stay afloat. They want to add to the super conference. They lack swag. So who are they going to call? They're going to call JSU. They're going to call Deion. Deion's going to call Hugh Jack. He's going to call Hugh Jack over there at Grambling. Hugh is going to call, Coach Pugh at South Carolina State. South Carolina State going to call TSU, with Eddie George. So Grambling, Southern, JSU, TSU, South Carolina State, and maybe a Howard are coming to the ACC. Why? Why not? Like people say, think about this for a second.
That ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
Hold on. Think about this for a second. At least Jackson State has played in their championship game. Miami hasn't. Right? When people say,
that's true, yeah.
Let's just keep it a buck. What could it hurt? Commissioner of the ACC says, man, Deion Sanders called me and said, man, what you scared of? What you mean?
I can see that for one. I don't know about all.
Now, here it is. Okay. You want to add more? Hey, man, all right, Ben. That ain't 24. We need some more. All right. The ACC gets back on the phone. They call App State. They call Coastal Carolina. They call Louisiana. They call Georgia Southern. And they called, I hate to say it, the other GSU. They saying, hey, we want App, Louisiana, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Coastal Carolina. Because people saying, man, what would you do that for? Well, we need people. We need crazy fan bases. We need, I don't know, the best. I mean, the Sun Belt, nobody wanted to play them anyway.
The best of what's left.
So now we in Louisiana with Southern and Louisiana. We in Baton Rouge. I don't even know what we in New Orleans, whatever. Right?
No, I think they are in
Shreveport or something?
No, you talking about Louisiana?
Yeah.
The Raging. They are in. Are they in? No, that's Louisiana Monroe. That's in Monroe. Are they in Lafayette, Louisiana?
Yes, they are in Lafayette.
Louisiana, Lafayette. Duh. There we go. But I don't know where that is. I'm not familiar with Louisiana geography.
Now here it is. No, here it is. Here's another.
It's somewhere in between New Orleans and whatever the last town getting out of Dodge on the north end is of Louisiana, whatever that is.
And look.
Somebody help me out with
that. Here's another crazy take. I mean, we start talking about, all right, Oregon don't like the fact that they called the Big Ten. They told them, we'll think about it. Man, bump all that. I'm going to call Greg Sankey. So now UW, Oregon, right? Listen, Oklahoma State, UW, Oregon, Notre Dame. They're going over to they're going over to the SEC. The head coach of Notre Dame said the only way I'm coming over to the SEC if I'm the highest paid coach in the country. And he puts a clause in his contract that says I have to always make $1 more than Nick Saban. What? Why? Because we Notre Dame.
And then Nick Saban's always got to make $1 more. And it just goes up perpetually.
and
who agrees to that?
Like this, give him my $1. Listen,
yeah.
And listen. And Nick Saban has to give me the $1 and he has to sign it. He got to sign.
Can you imagine if that really was like, I am the highest paid coach? Here you go.
I'm the highest paid coach. Congratulations. Listen. And if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't give me the $1, yeah, he gets fined. And I get his fine money. How much? $100K. What?
Whatever makes me the highest.
No, because Kevin, you know this thing is going to get even weirder. No, no. Here's the thing. Here's the craziest one though. SEC calls North Carolina. North Carolina wants to go to the SEC, but North Carolina goes, we can't leave the triangle. What? We can't do this to them. So what you saying?
That'd be like an episode of Shark Tank. I like you. I don't like your two brothers. And for those reasons, I'm out. Let me get somebody else on the phone.
North Carolina goes, listen, Coach Mac Brown goes, wait a minute, man. If UCLA can go with USC, I want Duke. I want North Carolina State. For what? Because we're a package.
I don't think there's any package deals. I really don't. And that's all over and done. There's no package deals. No compadres, no alliances, no nothing. Phone rings. Oh, you mean we can't take them? Hey man, they said you can't come in. This is what happens. Like you go to the club and they're like, hey, you could come in. Your little brother can't. Hey man, wait right here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to get you in. And then you're gone for like 2.5 hours. And you come back and go, I don't know. I called you a cab, man. They said no. I'll see you in a little while. And then you go back inside. And that's what happened. No, there is no alliance. It's all done.
Think about that. Think about that stuff. Everybody be thinking, oh man, we all in this thing together. Kevin's sitting there. Listen, Kevin's North Carolina.
Yeah.
Kevin's the AD in North Carolina. But listen, the two ADs for North Carolina State and Duke. Here you go. Hey, Greg, I'm gonna put you on speaker. Okay. All right, go ahead. All right. Go ahead. Greg, hey, man, listen. Got North Carolina State here, man. Got Duke here. And look, man, I can't do this to them, man. I couldn't feel comfortable coming over to the SEC without them guys. Man, take a leave of Kevin. All right, we'll take it.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I tried.
Fellas, he drives a hard bargain. He ain't even give a number. Well, hold. Don't act like we ain't did nothing for you. North Carolina State, Duke. no, because Kevin, that's where we are, right? That's where we are in college football.
Sure.
To where we have an identity, we are going through an identity crisis. Not with college football, with some of these brands that thought, man, what you mean they don't want us? Man, I heard a dude say, man, I'd rather get FAMU than get Miami. What? At least they got a better band. They in Tallahassee. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because Kevin, that's where we are. It's like, think about it. Oregon and UW called Kevin Warren personally, and he says, thank you, but no thank you.
Hold on a minute. I gotta call somebody. I gotta call somebody.
You're wrong.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me.
We're on Skype, Kevin.
You got me on Bluetooth? Hold on a second.
Hello. Kevin, we can see you. Kevin, you know what? Come on, bro. Hey, Kevin, can we have lunch? No, bro. Listen.
I feel like Oregon and Washington, if they got on a conference Skype call with Kevin Warren, they'd be the ones that have like the cat head as the filter. They're like, oh man, I'm sorry.
Kevin, man, we got
I don't
somebody
know
want to talk. Kevin, it's Oregon. We got somebody want to talk to you. Who is it?
Yeah, my
It's
daughter
Phil
left.
Knight. It's who? Phil Knight. What's
Yeah.
up, Phil? Listen, Kevin. I got Phil. Listen, bro. Unless you want, listen, man. I tried to get something off your website and it crashed. I gotta go.
Yeah, at the end. All right, moving along. Take 3. That was wild. I like again, just crazy. Whatever. Throw it up against the wall. It might stick. All right, take 3. Today is National Video Game Day. Ben, what is your favorite old school video game?
Wow, my favorite old school video game. If we're gonna go, whoa, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Contra. I used to love Contra. I mean, 2 guys coming out the freaking helicopter, whatever. You get to shoot guns and turn flips while you doing it. And
Oh
then
yeah.
all of a sudden, and that's what games were simple. You know, I mean, everything is right there in front of you. The graphics were what they were, right? I mean, I was one of those people, man. I had a Sega Saturn. I used to play Daytona 500, and I kid you not, I was so good at the game that I would beat the game so much they would let me pick a horse. It's a horse out there racing freaking NASCAR, and I'm beating it. And I'm like killing it, I used to be so good, right? I could lap the guys and kind of wait off in the corner, let them get out in front of me because I'm finna catch them all. You know what I'm saying? But man, obviously, the game of all games is Tecmo Bowl. Bo Jackson was
a beast.
unstoppable.
Beast. Super Tecmo Bowl for me. It was the second version. I say that one because that was the first game I remembered that would keep the stats. Like I guess Nintendo figured out a way to get a little bit of memory going, and it would keep the stats from the season. So it was like, hey man, I've been playing with the Dallas Cowboys, and Emmitt Smith's got 1,200 yards rushing. Or that was cool because like otherwise you would just play game to game and you actually got to keep stats. But yeah, Bo Jackson, Christian Okoye, unstoppable, Marcus Allen. Well, Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, both on the same team.
On.
I don't remember I don't remember who the quarterback was. It probably didn't matter. He just handed the ball off and get out the way.
I got 3 more, Kevin. And when I say them, you're gonna say what? The game of all games, Street Fighter. What? Street Fighter? Ken and Ryu are the same person, by the way. Just one has blonde hair, one has dark brown hair. You know what I'm saying?
They're brothers.
You know what it is. Blanc and all that. Kevin, Mortal Kombat. Get over here. What?
Yeah.
And the game of all games, NBA Jam. He's heating up.
Yeah.
NBA Jam, the 202. It was, and to me, right, that's when everybody was kind of good at the game. Like you can play anybody around, but now, man, a 10-year-old kid will beat the brakes off you. You try to play him in any one of these. I would listen. Graphics now are so crazy, but hey, man, listen. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, NBA Jam, Sonic the Hedgehog was incredible. I never really got. I didn't want one of those games like that you had to like understand what's going on this level. No, man. King Cooper used to get the brakes beat off him when it came to me. Came to Mario, he know what it is. But no,
I was trying to office. A lot of people said Mario Kart
because I'm not a gamer at all. Like I don't play games at all. I used to have back in the day, man. When I wasn't as frugal as I am now.
Right.
I had a 120-inch screen upstairs in my house. Right. And I played the game on it. And I used to be like, oh man, boom, bam, just like doing all that kind of stuff. That lasted all of a week. And I realized, not a gamer. I got so sick of going to buy hats at the mall, and I walk in and I get ready to pay, and he do the same thing. I'll pay, he'll take my hat and he'll pull it back. He'll say, hey bro, you killed me in the game. Hey bro, listen, give me my hat. I didn't kill you. Killed me my season last year, bro. You kept dropping the pass. No, that wasn't me. I'm sorry. But the game, hey man, but old school games, I'm gonna have to give me some. Hey Kevin, we might be, if we go out and get some old school game cartridges, we don't got to worry about outside of a little small little kid, our kids don't want no part of it.
No, I will say this. My kids I found my old PlayStation 2, and they're like, Dad, hook it up. I'm like, why do you want to play that? You have like the new console that has the way better. He's like, no, just hook it up. They actually wanted me to hook it up. So my oldest son said he wanted to play college baseball because that was back when, you could still make college games before Ben and everybody else killed with your name, image, likeness. Come on. No, but they wanted to play college baseball, and they got in there and go, man, this thing's hard to play. Like, I like playing the new one. I was like, well, why did you even want me to hook this up? Of course you want to play the new. That's what I'm saying. You're 100% right. They don't want to go, the graphics are terrible, Dad. Well, yeah, this thing was made like 25 years ago. Things have changed slightly since then. It's okay. We got to step aside. Let's take 3. We went way over, but we talk about video games and whatnot. You tend to do that. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. I mean, we can keep talking about video games if you want to. I mean,
Let's do it.
other than talking about the Jaguars, I mean, you know,
I mean, look, Kevin.
Trayvon Walker working out with Robert Mathis. It is what it is.
Robert Mathis, listen, for those of you who don't know why is Robert Mathis significant, I think Robert Mathis went to Alabama A&M, HBCU alum, has over 120 career sacks, but he stands alone in one category. He has the most forced fumbles in NFL history. I'm going to say it again. He has the most forced fumbles in NFL history. I think he got a bunch of fumble recoveries too. Robert Mathis was a guy that, unfortunately, I have a lot of knowledge because I had to play against him when he was with the Colts. He could bend the corner like nobody's business, but he's 6'2". Trayvon Walker's like 6'5", 6'6". I get you want to learn from the best. But teaching it ain't knowing it. Now, Robert can teach it because he's one of the best to ever do it. I think he's the career sack leader in Colts history. But I give the Jags a lot of credit. They want to make sure they're doing everything they possibly can to get the best possible outcome. We'll see what happens. But for me, for my money, if I got to put my money on it, it's gonna be a long year for the Jags. A long year. We'll see. I mean, Jaguars fans, look, last night I had to talk about the Jags again. You know, a friend of mine, got a nice little podcast. I was on talking about the Titans and the Jags and the Colts and that other team in Houston, whoever. And he was like, "Hey man, you think the Jags got a shot to be good this year?" I said, "Well, it depends on what you mean by good. Like, I mean, to my nephew, like to him, good. It's like Doritos and ketchup. Tear it up, Uncle Ben.
He didn't really do
this
that.
Is incredible. He'll eat it and look at me like, wow.
Like Cool Ranch and ketchup, or just regular? That's gross.
His taste buds are 3. So
okay, well then that makes more sense.
He's 3. Shot.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Shout out to Juice. But it's the thing. I said, now, to them, good is picking number 2 in the draft because they picked number 1 2 years in a row. I mean, I went from 4-12 to 5-11. So we
did improve.
We did improve now. I mean, but it's the thing. We had the 6th pick in the 2005 draft, and we had the 3rd in 2006. So I'm just saying it can happen, but Kevin, just like I know. Rookies are going to hit the rookie wall. They're going to have rookie struggles, especially when they're called in to be that dude. Like they bring you in to be that dude. In the last 4 drafts, maybe 5 drafts, Josh Allen. No, they went Dante Fowler Jr., Josh Allen. That worked out.
Dante Fowler Jr. didn't make it out of training camp, if I recall. He tore his ACL.
He tore his ACL. So Dante Fowler Jr., Josh Allen. Remember Clavon Chason? Me neither. Because Chason is going into year 3. He was a first-round pick. He played the same position as Trayvon Walker. At a certain point, you might have a getting to the quarterback problem, like a team in Atlanta.
They
got a problem. Let me tell you something.
I think they have an epidemic.
The hardest thing to do in football is double-digit stats that matter. What do you mean, man? Picks, sacks, touchdowns. They're hard to do. I love Kyle Pitts. Love him. Love that dude. He's never caught a touchdown pass in the States yet. In the league, he had a touchdown pass. It wasn't in America. So all I'm saying is, Kevin, you keep saying, you make a great point when you say it's hard to replace the man. Well, what if there wasn't a man? What if a man has to be made first? They don't have. Now, Josh Allen is that dude. He is that dude. Now, really, really good. Unique Ngakoue, right? Remember him when he was with the Jags? He's been on a different team since he's left. Since he left, he's been on a different team. He went to Minnesota. Then he was with Baltimore. Then Baltimore let him go. Then he went to Oakland. I mean, then he went to Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, yep.
Then he went back. To Baltimore. Now he's with the Colts. This man is traveling. And he's only like 27, 28 years old. So for me, I appreciate any extra work. But I got to give a shout out, though. Darius Slay, put out a thing saying, all-pro Darius Slay, Mississippi State, all-pro. He says he want to do a DBU. You know why? Because there's a tight end you. Stop hating Darius. If your DBs don't want to come together, have a DBU. You know why DBs don't want to come together? Ego. Too much ego out there. Hey, man, I mean, how many people you cover? Who cares?
Is there ego amongst rush ins?
Yeah.
Maybe the Falcons need to put on
I
DN.
was gonna say
Outside linebacker.
Robert, have anybody from Atlanta Falcons ever called? No, they told me I'm good. Oh, you called them? Yeah, they told me I'm good. Robert Mathis is from Atlanta. He got a house there. Yeah, so I could just drive down to Flowery Branch. What they tell you? Lorenzo called him, said they good. They told you they good. Because to me, Kevin, certain things. I saw a video of Travis Kelce giving tips to Kyle Pitts. You know what that shows? You know how confident I need to be in my position on the field to be able to give wisdom to the next up. That's what you're supposed to do. Travis Kelce is telling Kyle Pitts, hey, dude, yeah, you chasing me because I'm chasing Gronk, right? Like, the goal is to be the best ever to do it. I get it, man. Passing league, yeah. But stats that matter, yeah, always gonna matter. Touchdowns, red zone targets, third down targets, right? Fourth down momentum. That's what I do, because everybody's goal is to stop Travis Kelce every game. He's went back to back 1,000-yard seasons. I think he got 4 or 5. I think he broke the record set by who? Greg Olsen. He went 3 straight, broke that. Now he's at 4 or 5. Love Kyle Pitts, but Kevin, you know just like I know. It don't mean a thing if you can't get in that zone, man. And
And speaking of that, we'll come back and talk about who's going to get in that end zone for the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty much everybody knew out there on the outside who's going to have the best season for the Atlanta Falcons out there. We'll break it down next. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here. It is 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop here on this Friday. Glad you're making us a part of your day. And the Atlanta Falcons, Ben, who is going to catch the football? That's been a big, obviously, talking point here in the offseason. And now with training camp just a couple of weeks away, who's going to have the best season at the end of the day? Drake London, Brian Edwards, Auden Tate. I'm not talking about Kyle Pitts. I'm talking about specifically the guys who are going to be out there catching the football as quote-unquote wide receivers in this Falcons offense. Who do you think has the best season? Who becomes the go-to guy? Because everybody, quote-unquote, is new except for Olamide Zaccheaus. I'm sorry, he's not going to be your feature wide receiver. We already know that. Okay, you look at Cordell Patterson. Maybe, but right now he's listed at running back. So who becomes the favored target of Marcus Mariota and has a big year? And you're going to find that by yards, touchdowns,
Yes.
however you want to do that. But
I believe by the end of the season it's going to be Drake London because they're going to give him a lot of opportunities to go out there and prove himself. But for my money, I'm going to go with Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards is a solid – he's a really, really complimentary receiver out there with Las Vegas. Obviously, he wasn't going to be the main guy, with Darren Waller and obviously, Hunter Renfrow and company, but really, really complimentary piece. I think what Brian Edwards is going to be able to bring to the table is veteran leadership. Drake London's going to have to learn the game. Drake London's going to learn how to get off press, get off man, get off, get off coverage when they're trying to play him underneath. Because Drake London, until he proves it's going to get the team's number one receiver, you're going to have to show us that you belong in this league, which I do think he's going to do. Brian Edwards seems to be a guy to say, hey, I thought that my life was going to be in a complimentary role, not being the number one, maybe have a chance to be number two, but definitely a solid number three. Am I good enough to be a number one in this offense? Yes. Because you don't have a number one. Kyle Pitts obviously is going to be a go-to guy, but certain teams might try to take him away. How do they take Kyle Pitts away? In the red zone, where it matters. Yeah, we're going to let you eat in between them 20s. The money zone, no. Auden Tate, I don't remember him a lot with Cincinnati. Big body now, 6'4", 6'5". But I think, Kevin, for me, I'm always going to go with the veteran because certain times guys get overshadowed because of where they play, not how they play. Brian Edwards is a good receiver. And I think in an offense that lacks any identity, you're going to have to be able to have a guy that can go out there and prove yourself. I think that Brian Edwards is going to be that guy. I think Auden Tate got a shot to be, but I don't know. But Brian Edwards, I've seen him run routes. Auden Tate is a big body. So is he going to play on the outside or the inside? Drake London, you were the first receiver taken out of every receiver in the 2022 draft. You're going to have to prove it. Marcus Mariota is going to have the tallest receiving core by far in the National Football League. I think the shortest receiver he has is Cordell Patterson. I think he's like 6'2".
Yep.
Everybody else 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". So it's going to be a lot of 50-50 balls, but I think Brian Edwards is going to be a mentor on the field because he's going to have to show Drake London, hey, tall guys got to learn how to play small. You got to come in and out of them breaks. Every time we saw Drake London in college, it was 50-50 balls. He jumping over. I get that part. You're gonna have the biggest.
Can you be a good receiver in the NFL being a 50-50 guy?
Yeah, a guy who became a 50-50 guy, and I know people don't like this, but Dez Bryant was a 50-50 guy. Like, a lot of his routes were one-on-ones, and he could out-jump. Like, when he first came in the league, he could out-jump guys, out-muscle guys, and it worked. The most receiving touchdowns in Dallas Cowboy history goes to who? Dez Bryant. He has the most touchdowns in Dallas Cowboy history. So, it works. There's nothing wrong with having a niche, right? So, if you are Drake London, I don't see him. I don't know how fast he is. But you can't coach height. You can't coach catch radius. And you can't coach being able to come down with the 50-50 balls. Brian Edwards going to show him how to run routes. Like, the thing about, and I am not comparing none of these guys to him, by the way. Let me just put that. What makes guys like Julio and Calvin Johnson so rare, as big as they are, they can run routes. Like, they big, but they go, hey, man, I'm going to route you up first. What you mean? Like, oh, you think I'm just a big body? No. I'm going to utilize my size, speed, ability, and girth once I get the ball in my hand, but I'm going to route you up. Every time it was one-on-one, when Calvin Johnson, when they dumb enough to go one-on-one, and Matt Stafford used to look out there and go, what? Check. I'm going, what? I'm going one-on-one with 8-1, touchdown. Drake London's going to have to learn, I got to win one-on-ones. They're not going to double me for nothing. That's a waste of a safety. If I could be one-on-one coverage, I'm going to be able to roll that safety to my side, and I'm going to be able to see. But for me, I think it's going to be Brian Edwards. I've seen a lot of him. I saw him at South Carolina. I remember him getting drafted by the Raiders. I thought that was a good pickup. I think Terry Fontenot has done a really, really good job. Brian Edwards on offense is like in a sense, like a Lorenzo Carter on defense. You need a guy that's done it. You need a guy that said, "Look, man, I made the best of my opportunities when I was out there with the Raiders because I'm not gonna get many and ain't but so many balls going." I mean, the best receiver for the Raiders, that would be Darren Waller. The best receiver, in a sense, for Atlanta, is Kyle Pitts.
Sure.
And every team and the teams that run they pass the game through the tight end do pretty good. I mean, Kansas City does it. Baltimore Ravens do it. The Baltimore Ravens, the Raiders do it. And the Atlanta Falcons gonna do it. Kansas City Chiefs do it. So it's not like, but in order to do that, you got to have a dominant one. You got that. At least for 1 year, you got that. Who does Kyle Pitts make life better for? A Drake London. Because that safety, until proven otherwise, I got to slide over here. Number 8 is scary in between them 20s. Brian Edwards is going to be number 1. Drake London got a shot to be the number 1 because of where he got drafted. Auden Tate needs to be a complimentary number 2 or 3 or number 3. And Cordell Patterson is going to have to work himself into the fold because, Kevin, if you look at the offense that could potentially have, Drake London on one side, Brian Edwards on the other side, Auden Tate in the slot, or Cordell Patterson with Kyle Pitts, Damian Williams or somebody at running back with Marcus Mariota with a dual threat, it could be scary now. Now, it could be scary the other way too. Meaning if guys,
I understand that. I guess my point when I asked you this before the show, so I ask it for everyone else to hear, is when you look at Drake London, because I wonder when I ask that question, who's going to be the best one? People would say, "Oh, it's your number 1 draft pick." Given what we've seen, where it says, "Hey, you kind of at USC used your size to your advantage. You could out 50-50 people on a lot of things." Is Drake London a guy that is going to be more effective inside the red zone than he will be between the 20s? I.e., if you're trying to move the sticks, he may not be your guy, but you get down the red zone, he might be a guy that at the end of the year you look at it and go, only has like 600 yards, 700 yards receiving, but he's got 10 touchdowns.
Yes.
Because everything's short, kind of there inside the red zone. Is that a fair assessment of him, or am I selling him short on what I see? Because with Kyle Pitts, you kind of got it the other way, right? Kyle Pitts last year was in between the 20s. Maybe you could even say in between the 10s. He was really good. Put up the most yards as a rookie as a tight end in NFL history. But 1 touchdown. That's, as you said, that's not good enough when you're not affecting the scoreboard. Do you see Drake London being that kind of guy where you look at it and say, man, the yardage may not be all that great, but given his style of play, at least right now, if he's winning 50-50 balls from 10 yards out, he might have a bunch of touchdowns.
Yes, and Kevin, now we're getting into the part of football that matters. We are stat compilers when it comes to football. Oh, this guy, this guy, that. I'm going to give you an example. Mercedes Lewis, I think he's going in the year I want to say 17 in the NFL.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, he got drafted in 2006. Yes, this will be his 17th year. The year he went to the Pro Bowl, he had 700 yards, 58 catches. He had 12 touchdowns. See, 12.1 yards a catch. What I say that to say this. We get so enamored with the stats. Jalen Waddle had the most catches last year as a rookie. Had 106. He barely had over 1,000 yards. I mean, those are dinks and dunks. That's quick. Get the ball to him quick. I care about touchdowns at the end of the year. You know who used to lead teams to touchdowns? The backup tight end. The guy that comes in on the goal line. That's who used to lead the team because he ain't in there that much. I need to affect the scoreboard. So, Drake London, if your niche is, because the thing about, once again,
you got to get down there, obviously.
The thing about the Calvin Johnson was, once you get to that goal line, everybody knows they finna throw that fade. Can you stop it? Oh, when they finna throw that fade, yeah. When that DB comes out and goes, so that's 6'5", then they're gonna throw it up 40 inches. Oh, that's before. Now that's a 40-inch vert. That's not counting his wingspan. So now when he goes, so that's athleticism. With Drake London, it's like this. Unfortunately, Kevin, when you look a certain way in football, they expect you to perform that way. Julio Jones looks and played the same when he was at his best. Brian Urlacher played And, he looked to play the same at his best. Certain guys, I got a 6'4" linebacker. Can he play? Yep. So I think for Drake London, for Alden Tate, for Brian Edwards, all of them, Alden Tate is the tallest. I think he's 6'5". I want to say Drake London is 6'4". What you think they're going to do with a tall dude? If I go into the rec, pick up basketball, and a guy walks in 6'8", hey, yo, you running today? Yeah. And I just turn it to a coach. Listen, man, I'm just giving it to you down low. Look at me. I'm going to just give it to you down low, just post up. All right. I don't now. Once I get him out there, he can't post up. I'm like, yes. Dude, you can't. Oh, my God. So to me,
I
Kevin,
want to play like dirt.
So that's where you are in football is if you can't route guys up, body them up. But you got to get, like you said, you got to get down there. And look, if you throw it to him, the guy who has the least amount of yards after the catch for 1 year was DeAndre Hopkins. Problem is he'll catch it at 40. He'll catch a 40-yard bomb and get tackled. Well, that's 40 yards down the field. He don't got to run that far. But I just think that I do hope it is Drake London, but I think it's going to be Brian Edwards because in order to play the game, you got to learn it first.
Sure.
And he's coming off an injury. Still the number one. So, Terry Fonda knows something we don't. But Kevin, what scares me is I don't know that 40 time.
Well, like I said, I think he could be very effective. Just looking at what we saw, he looks like a guy that's going to rely on wingspan, athleticism, 50-50 balls. That was the first kind of hot take about him. It was like, hey, he wins a lot of 50-50 balls. Okay, that means you probably aren't getting a lot of separation. Can you get down the field without him, I guess? I know he's got to be out there, but can you get down the field without him making huge plays and then rely on him in the red zone? We'll have to wait and see. We got more to come. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Great to be back on this Friday, leading you up towards Braves baseball later tonight. Braves and the Washington Nationals, the last place Washington Nationals. So I guess we get an easy turn in the schedule, so to speak. If you are a Braves fan, then the Mets coming up next week, Ben. A lot of people already looking ahead to those 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, Braves and Mets. And it could be Scherzer and Max Fried on Monday. That is going to be insane.
Looking forward to it, though, Kevin. Right? Can't even say like how incredible this season has been for the Braves. When you look at what they was tasked with, being 10.5 games back at one point. Now to keep, now to be letting the Mets know, listen, man, we ain't going nowhere. Post All-Star break is going to be incredible, but got to get it done pre-All-Star break.
If you can overtake them before the All-Star break, I think that really puts the pressure on them coming out of the All-Star break to look at their roster. I mean, they're kind of in a similar situation with the Braves, where they got a lot of guys hurt that could be coming back post All-Star break. But what a statement you could make prior to that. Final hour coming up next. Good to have you along here. It is 3 and Out on this Friday. He has been Troop. I am Kevin Thomas. A lot to get to. We'll hear from Josh Pate. Had a conversation with our own Christian Gokel talking college football. College football media days coming up in been a little bit more than a week. Actually, a week from Monday. SEC media days will be back. What are we talking about on that Monday when Greg Sankey's there? Are we spending more time talking about conference expansion or not doing conference expansion, or are we spending more time actually talking about college football? Which do you think drives the conversation in 2 weeks or a week and a half there in Hoover?
It's got to be a conference expansion. Greg Sankey does interviews all the time, so he knows how to maneuver around the media and things of that nature, Kevin. But when he got so many people from all over the country, everybody that covers the SEC, in certain regards, far as going to be there asking them questions, Greg Sankey should already. I don't know if he does mock interviews by himself. I'm pretty sure his wife.
I'm sure he gets prepped.
But he got to know, right? Like, all right, what led to all this? Like, we get to Texas and Oklahoma, we get that part. But is it true that you went to the college football playoff committee, specifically Mr. Hancock, and said, "Are you going to do an expansion?" He said no. How many?
He pushed hard for getting it expanded.
Talk about the collaboration you've been able to have. I know you can't give up your methods, but. You fly in the airports and never leave the airport. Like, you never leave the airport. Like, when I say we're meeting at, in Atlanta, you get off the plane and you go in some, underground bunker with a light that says, shh, don't. Did anybody follow you in?
They're listening right now.
Here go. Put the cell phone away. Now, I think with Greg Sankey, though, is there are people who still don't know who he is, unfortunately. You get to see the most powerful person in college football, in college sports.
I would say college athletics.
Right? It's going to be in Atlanta. The thing about Greg Sankey is this. He's a very, very mild-mannered individual. He's very, very he's very, very seasoned with his speech. How many teams you like? Oh, I got 16 favorite teams now. He's going to say all the right things. But he knows at the end of the day, man, the SEC, dude, we got something coming for y'all. We understand that our product is top notch. Coaches, top notch. Teams, top notch. Players, top notch. But Kevin, just like everybody else, we want more. What? And we can say it just means more. No, we want it. We want more. We want it all. When I played for Florida, I had a coach, and he used to say something that. It resonates. He says, "Ben, we don't pick sides. We take over. We do not pick sides." That is what Greg Sankey, he's trying to take over. Because while he respects these other conferences, they ain't SEC. When you start talking about the magnitude, Kevin, we talked about the quarterbacks earlier and how they gonna dominate, hopefully, the SEC media days because of how big they are. Greg Sankey knows, man, I got Nick Saban. I had Brian Kelly. I got Billy Napier. So I got the best coach or the winningest coach right now in the Sun Belt. I got the biggest name in college football, not named Lincoln Riley. So the Big Ten get Lincoln Riley, I give you Brian Kelly. Whoa. No one else can pull him but us. And I can say us because I'm the commissioner of the SEC. I left Notre Dame for LSU because I saw what it did for Nick Saban. Right? I saw what it did for Les Miles. I saw what it did for Ed Orgeron. I want some of that. Plus, look at what he really did, Brian Kelly. Though. It's real similar. Now, LSU ain't Notre Dame. I didn't have to worry about competing with nobody in Indiana. Take nothing away from other schools in the state. We ran Indiana. I don't got to compete with nobody in Louisiana. Not even the Saints. That's why I want to run this thing. So, but it is Greg Sankey being able to answer these questions of, all right, I know you can't give us the blueprint, but could you give? Because we know that you got Texas and Oklahoma coming. Who else? No, how do you feel about Notre Dame telling Kevin Warren no in the Big Ten? Well, I know Kevin really well. No. Do you want Notre Dame? Do you want North Carolina? Do you want Virginia? Do you want Georgia Tech?
I think he's going to get asked a lot of questions about that because, again, the SEC, for the most part, has never been known for being reactive. The SEC has been known for being proactive, and they're the ones driving change. Like, they went to 16, nobody saw it coming, right? Everybody's sitting here bebopping along. hey, the ACC probably need to win a little more. Pac-12, you need to get somebody in the playoffs. All of a sudden, before SEC Media Days a year ago, hey, somebody said Texas and Oklahoma were going to join the league. And Greg Sankey said, well, I mean, you weren't supposed to find out till a little bit later, but yeah, that's it. They're coming, right? So the SEC has been proactive. So while they like 16, I mean, I think a better question would be, do you like 16? Are you anticipating going to 20, 24 teams? Because make no mistake, if they think the Big Ten is going to bring in
Come on.
4 more teams,
Yep.
go to 20 and bring in more money, you don't think there's a plan for that by the SEC? So I think I think as long as Greg Sankey's there, and I say there, he's there the whole time, but his kind of time, that's what he's going to be asked about. I don't know if he's going to get a single thing about, hey, you have the defending national champions, you had a matchup in which you played yourself.
Yeah.
SEC v. SEC, defending national champs again. I don't think anybody's going to care about that. I think he's going to give the state of the league, talk about how much money they're making, and then somebody's going to say, hey, you're trying to get Texas and Oklahoma in here earlier? Are you trying to go bigger? I think those are the questions he's going to get. And I wonder how much actual football he can drive the discussion. We've seen this, but I wonder when it comes to open questions, how much actual football people are going to ask him about.
He shouldn't get the much. Because, Kevin, I will say this, right? I will say this. Most people have never been in a situation to where you over something that while you wanted it to become something, it became bigger than that. Like everybody foreshadows. Oh, man, we see it doing this, doing that. I remember me and BJ, we was down there in the Gainesville. You know, I drug BJ down there. He didn't want to go. Promoting the book.
Sure.
And we read something that said in the next 10 years, the University of Florida has a $1 billion budget in facilities. $1 billion, which means I'll take it a step further than that. The old Georgia Dome, it wasn't old and you blew it up. Why? Because it's all about new, bigger. How can we take it to the next level? They say as soon as they made the Mercedes-Benz Dome, they already got something else planned. Like that's what it is with the SEC. It's, hey man, I'm in a position to where if Greg Sankey goes, man, what type of budget am I working with? Somebody goes, unlimited? What do you mean? It depends on what you want. Depends on how big you want it. What do you mean? Jim McElwain is the reason why the University of Florida has an indoor facility. Not Urban Meyer. Not Dan Mullen. Jim McElwain. Greg Sankey's going to walk up in there, and he knows he's the man. He's humble. He knows he's the man. Greg, what? Man, what's the plan, man? Because we know that essentially you're nothing against the Big Ten. You're keeping college football together. Because if y'all break away,
I mean,
if they break away, Kevin,
I can make the case that they're not, but I mean, yeah, I understand.
What I'm saying is, now me personally, I don't think they're going to break away. I don't think Greg Sankey wants that a part of his, reputation. Hey, man, I don't want to be the one that, quote, broke up NCAA. I don't want to do that. But can I force the NCAA? No, let me not say it. This ain't the NCAA. It's college football playoff.
Which is a separate entity, by the way. Which is a separate
entity. I think what Greg Sankey, Kevin, it's one of those things to where, just Kevin, you are part of a company, just say it's 3 and out. But you don't know, sure. but you don't know the magnitude of what 3 and out is because you do it every day. You get caught up and do you go up in somewhere, right? Kevin, whoa. You Kevin Thomas. No. When people don't know you, they say you Kevin Thomas, right? When people do know you, they call you by your first name, Kevin.
I get PJ Zuko a lot for some reason.
Well,
I do. I like,
and I
must be my beard. I don't know.
Hey, man, I think that now with Greg Sankey, it's happening so fast.
It is. I mean, it really is. I think that's the part that you got to stay on top of it because it is happening fast. Where you saw last year, okay, Texas and Oklahoma, and people are like, okay, how are we going to adjust to that? And less than a year later, the two biggest branded schools, I won't say they're the biggest, but USC is, but the two biggest branded schools leave Los Angeles to go to the Big Ten. I look at, again, to me, I'm very interested to see what Greg Sankey has to say, as I always am, but I mean, what he has to say and kind of because he plays it very close to the vest. He really does. But I'm interested in what he has to say when people ask him about the direction of college athletics, because everybody knows, look, Greg, it's you. It's you and Kevin Warren. And I think if you're being honest, you have more power than Kevin Warren at the Big Ten. Why? Because you're a driver of a lot of things.
Oh, Kevin Warren's in the car.
No, I'm saying, yeah, he's in the car. I think
He's just not driving.
But Greg Sankey he's in a position, he is the driver. If the SEC wants more teams in a playoff, look at the influence they had. A lot of reports that, a lot of what happened over the last year with the SEC is Greg Sankey saying, listen, I'm trying to do what's best for me and in a roundabout way, what's best for college football, which is what? More access to the college football playoff, which is what? More money for me, yes, but more money for you as well. So, and again, I think that's the way he was approaching it. And a lot of people said when he thought he had a consensus building towards a 12-team playoff and it fell apart, he's very mad. I get it. Because Greg Sankey's looking at saying, look, yes, we're on the top. Yes, we're trying to make more money, but I'm also not just saying, because that's when you hear stuff like, well, we can just do our own playoff. And people go, come on, man, the SEC. That's what Greg Sankey, I think, initially tried to do was say, look, we're going to expand the playoff. We're going to have more access. We want more money, but it also means you more money. Pac-12, you could have, I don't know now, but you could have made more money. Why? Because there's an open spot for you. Guaranteed. Big 12, there's no spot. ACC, you get there. And there's opportunities to get other teams in. Right now, there's 4 spots. We've been taking 2. There's 5 power conferences. We've been taking 2 of the 4 spots, which leaves 4 of y'all and Notre Dame to fight over 2 or 3. To fight over 2 spots. How's that working out? Well, not too good, Greg. Thank you. I understand that. Can we get this thing expanded? And there was some pushback to that. I really believe he is the driver of a lot of stuff in college athletics. That's why I think he's the most powerful guy in college athletics. It's not the NCAA. You don't just throw out, well, maybe we'll explore doing our own thing if you don't think you can pull it off.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a veiled threat to doing it. But here we are. Big Ten's going 16, and a lot of people think we're not stopping there. So I think he's going to get a lot of questions about that. It's going to be very little about, hey, you're defending national champs again, and what do you think about the prospects for the league in 20? No, it's going to be like, is this thing getting bigger? And I think he's going to get a lot of questions about, well, Southern Cal and UCLA are coming in a year earlier than Texas, Oklahoma. Are you pushing to get them in earlier? Because I think, again, when they said they were leaving, Ben, nobody thought they were staying the full distance. Because at some point, it becomes about money, and you say, it is just financially worth it for us just to pay you off and get out of here.
Yep.
And I think that's where we could go with Oklahoma and Texas before too much longer. We got to step aside. We got so much to get to. We'll hear from Josh Pate. Had a conversation with our own Christian Gokel. A lot of college football talk. Good to have you along on this Friday. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We're streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. You can also see us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're coming right back. 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here on 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop. Glad you're making us a part of your day. College football, 50 some odd days away from getting started. And it will be here before you know it. College football media days right around the corner as well. Our own Christian Gokel had a chance to catch up with Josh Pate of the Late Kick and talk about, hey, are we there? Are we at the when is it officially college football season that we can all officially move forward? Good to have you along here. 3 and Out. Kevin and Ben. Braves and Nationals coming up tonight. Nationals, Mets, Nationals, how the Braves will finish this thing out, Ben. Heading into the All-Star break. All-Star voting ended earlier today at 2. We'll get the full roster coming up tonight at 7. So right about the time the Braves and Nationals get started, we'll find out who's going. Who do you think should be there? I'll give you mine. I think Fried, Acuna, Dansby, Swanson. I think those 3 for sure. I think Austin Riley should be there, and maybe Kenley Jansen. That would be my 4. Hey, they're the defending World Series champs. They should have some good representation there. I think those 4 will be nominated. We'll see if Kenley can pitch. I do think he's expected to come back from his AFib situation, maybe right before the All-Star break. But I think they've all pitched well enough and played well enough. They should be there. Who do you have?
Ooh, I mean, Dansby, Mansby, obviously.
I mean, we know Acuna's already there because he got the most votes.
Dansby, Mansby. Kevin, look, this is my thing, right? I get that Michael Harris Jr. haven't been here that long, right? But then you tell me his efficiency rate, he's rated like the second best
defensive center fielder in the game since he's been called up.
And this is my thing, right? Is it his fault when he gets called up? Or do he control what he do when he gets here? Since he has been here, right? Since he has been here. The thing about this Braves team, though, look, it's a lot of guys, man. Matt Olson is all-star worthy when what he's done, right? Lincoln Riley is all-star worthy in what he's done. It's so many guys with the Braves. Number one, it just shows you the popularity of Ronald Acuna Jr., the top vote getter, you know what I'm saying, nationally. But I'm so proud of Dansby Swanson, man, because I think sometimes, Kevin, people don't use pressure right. He knows it. Number 1 overall pick, Atlanta native, playing for the Braves, a part of the greatest infield of all time, coming off a World Series. And for the first month, I wanted to bury my head in the sand. I did not want to be seen. You can't even tell that now. Like, just imagine what Dansby would be if he didn't, quote, have a slump. I mean, Kenley Jansen, as you mentioned, Strider. It's like, dude, it's like.
And he's the same thing. I mean,
what I don't get about the All-Star thing is, does it have to be a length of time or what you've done with the time you've done?
I think they start voting so far back. Again, could they get in as an alternate? Maybe, but I don't think. I mean, Brian Snitker could do it. I mean, but I don't think he will. I mean, but Spencer Strider has been nothing short of amazing.
I will say this though,
but it's probably too short of a length of time for both of them to be in the major leagues to get there. But I mean, Spencer Strider's been amazing. I mean, he leads. This is the part that's amazing. Spencer Strider leads the Braves in strikeouts. He was in the minor leagues when the season started. He didn't start, right? He was pitching 1 inning at a time for like the first month, right? So he hasn't been able to go 5-6 innings just racking up strikeouts. He has 20 less innings pitched than Charlie Morton, and he's got more strikeouts than Charlie Morton, who's 2, by the way. He's got a lot more strikeouts than Max Fried, a lot more strikeouts than Kyle Wright, or he's got more strikeouts than Kyle Wright, who's got, I think, 30 more innings than Spencer Strider does. I mean, he's just been incredible. And to go 9 up, 9 down, all strikeouts last night, that doesn't happen. I don't care who you are. That does not happen in Major League Baseball, and that was incredible. I think it would be an interesting case if he made it. I think a lot of people would be like, who is this cat? I don't think he will. I think it's one of those where he hasn't been around Major League Baseball long enough to get that call. I think you get some raised eyebrows and be like, has he played well enough? Yeah, he played well enough for a month and a half. But you know this, Ben. I mean, it's fan voting. It's all that. Sometimes you got to have a little reputation built up before you get into that all-star voting. And Michael Harris, unless you followed minor league baseball, you didn't really know who he was. Same with Spencer Strider.
Yeah.
You showed up at spring training and go, who's the guy with the big quads? Who's the guy with the hamstrings?
With the stash.
Yeah, he's got this weird stash going on. And so now it's kind of become a thing, but I think, it's a little too late to be jumping in on all-star stuff, but I make no mistake. If he continues to start baseball games, and again, the innings are going to tell the tale with him because he's going to blow way past what he's ever pitched in his life.
Yes.
In one season. Like, I think at Clemson, he was a bullpen guy. He's been kind of a pseudo starter bullpen guy in the minor league. So I think he hasn't pitched more than like 80 innings in a season. Well, he's about 10 innings away from that right now, and you got a long way to go. So how long can he hold up will be interesting. But if he continues to pitch like this, you ain't gonna have to worry about potential all-star stuff in the future. I mean, he is going to be one of those guys that is on the highlights for watch me make major league hitters look stupid. 103 dotted on the corner. What you going to do with that? You can't even see it. You can't even see that. Like, and again, I know you talk to Major League Baseball, Major League hitters. I've heard people say this, Ben. Professional hitters, what they do. What do you do with 101 plus 100 mile an hour? He's like, they're like 100. Like you don't even see it. You just guess. If it looks good, you swing.
Yeah,
But they like. I've seen it again. I've watched baseball. They ask guys. Aroldis Chapman. What do you do when he's throwing 102? You hope and pray it doesn't hit you, because you sure can't see it.
Yeah, you hope his accuracy is on point.
Yeah, because you sure can't see it to hit it. And so I don't know what you do with it. And so if he continues to be able to do that kind of stuff, man, it's going to be insane. Insane.
I just, Kevin, the one thing I can't say is this: these Braves team, they not all hype. You got a bunch of guys that are definitely all-star worthy. I mean, we mentioned Riley, we mentioned Olsen, obviously Dansby Swanson shouldn't be starting. I mean, obviously Ronald Acuna Jr. is starting. Michael Harris. If there are two guys to ever push it, and I'm not saying they're the first. If Michael Harris and a Spencer Strider and Michael Harris can get in with alternates, I think it will be doing an incredible service, because these guys need to be seen. But I will say this. The greatest spectacle in all-star games they're known to, man, is the home run derby. It is beautiful to watch, because it's like once they hit that first, boom, boom, they just go back. And I know BJ Bennett, hope to get BJ back soon. Whatever happened to that, what is it called? The home run derby curse by Ronald Acuna Jr. I don't want to get in. It's going to be a curse. Stop making stuff up. Sick of that nonsense.
Yeah, he has been in a little slump as of late, but I feel like, the Mets series would be a great time to hop out of it.
I can't wait on the bus out.
You know what's coming. And that's the thing. I think if you're a Braves fan, you're still winning games, and Ronald Acuna has been rough. I think his batting average has dropped like 35 points over the last 3 weeks. It's been rough. He's had a hard time getting the ball to drop. But when it does, it's going to be a thing of beauty. Rob Manfred, again, commissioners like to do things to shake things up. Rob Manfred, I think he's trying to do the image thing. I think he even actually came out the other day and actually said, I love baseball. Rob, you're the commissioner. You shouldn't have to say that. That's what you say when people know you don't love baseball. But he did come out and say, hey, we made an exception to the All-Star team. We're going to allow each team to have a legend. And the National League gets Albert Pujols, who obviously was not going to be voted in. He's, in his last season, he's trying to get to get around long enough to get to that 700 home run mark. And Ben, your new buddy, Miguel Cabrera, going to represent the American League as a guy that's been around obviously a long time. He's in the latter stages of his career. So you're getting a couple extra players that are legendary players of the game, going to be Hall of Famers, but obviously not playing all-star caliber at this stage of their career. So Rob Manfred making that happen, and it's going to be new here in about a week.
I'm just looking forward to it, Kevin. And like at the end of the day, man, them Braves should be well represented. Ronald Acuna Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr., but Michael Harris. Because Kevin, we talking about having one of the best players. Could we have potentially already talks of potentially the best center fielder in baseball, and he's only been here, a month and a half. Shout out to them Braves for getting it right. And guess what? Ozzy, he's on his way back.
Yeah.
We'll see how the NFL goes.
And you could have made a case that had he not gotten injured, might he be getting an all-star call at some point? Would he have been there at the all-star game this year? Very good case. We'll come back. We'll get you ready for Braves baseball and know all about that all-star lineup coming up in a little bit more than an hour. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here on 3 and Out on this Friday. Braves and Nationals coming up here in just a little bit, Ben. And then, of course, when we come back to you on Monday, going to set up huge for those Braves and Mets on Monday. What a series that's going to be as we get close to the All-Star break.
Looking forward to it, Kevin. This is when the rubber meets the road. I think sometimes when you start talking about a team like the Braves, they've done all they can to make sure they stay in the very, very close rear view of those Mets. Now we get to see how they stack up. If they can, like you say, Kevin, if they could be, if they can cut down to 0 games before the All-Star game, that's going to put way more pressure on those Mets to say, hey, we know y'all good with a lead. Can y'all play, makes it all even coming out of the All-Star game.
We'll see you Monday here, 3 and Out.